Welcome back to Watchful Studio. I'm on location in New Zealand, and this is a splendid view at sunset of the Wellington Harbour, the mouth of the harbour here. And maybe a good setting for me to talk about something I've been thinking about for a few weeks. Complaint we often hear in board games is that a particular player is taking too long to make their turn. Too long is a hanging comparative. It's not compared to anything else in the sentence. So we're left asking ourselves, compared to what? Not to mention says who, but okay. It probably means longer than expected, and that probably means in turn much more time than the others are taking, or maybe it means more time than seems reasonable to the other players. What's the problem with that? I mean, if you're playing a serious strategy game, and it's a timed game on the clock, then it's fairly the player's decision how long they take, isn't it? And if the game's not so serious, or it's not so competitive that it's on the clock, are there any reasonable grounds for complaint? Why shouldn't players take just as long as they want to? I got to thinking about this. Well, leaving aside the whole treacherous business of other people's expectations for another day, I think it can matter, because a board game's not just another sort of game. I think it's a special sort of game because of the way the different things are blended together. For example, it could be competitive, but it's not just a competition to find the best player, and it could be a sort of puzzle solving that's almost independent of the other players, but it is still done with the other players. It's going to be more or less heavily themed, and we get to explore that theme together. I think that board games are a sort of game that are particularly characterised that, however they differ, they're all played in the company of other people. And we can say that because it isn't always true. For example, if you're playing in an organised competitive situation, could be a tournament for chess, or Go, or Magic the Gathering, or Warhammer 40,000, anything that's played competitively. In those situations, you're primarily playing for the game itself. At least that's been my experience of playing games in different ways. I talked about it a bit in a previous video, and I'll put a link here. So the more I thought about all this, the more I felt we could see board games as collective experiences that we develop together. That's like Dungeons and Dragons or other role-playing games, but I think that board games are distinct from those games. And I got to thinking that board games are kind of like singing a song together. It could be sung slowly or quickly, it could speed up or slow down at different times, it could be sung more or less intensity, might be ragged or chaotic at times, but it's still a group experience that we develop together, unless someone's out of time with the other. And then it's as if the song is going on more or less together, but one person's starting the line too late, or they're taking too long to sing a particular phrase, and we can't all get to the chorus together, as it were, so pushing and dragging, as it was said in that movie Whiplash. I think that's when someone takes too much time with their turn. What they're doing is upsetting the cadence of the social experience. They're out of time with the other players. They're dragging socially. So having pondered this a bit, I came to the conclusion the reason taking too much time in board games could be said to matter is because it spoils the rhythm and the cadence of the game, which spoils the sense of unity we had with the other players. I think it changes the quality of the game socially. So if we think that there's a legitimate complaint at all, it's actually a social complaint. And I have a few things to say about this more, about why I think it happens, but I decided to put it into another video, which will be an excuse for me to find another splendid location with some different scenery. I hope it's food for thought in the meantime, and that you found it interesting. And if you did, and if you enjoyed the view, then please join me again. Enjoy again. Bye.